The Senate weighs in on the massive $1 billion transportation funding bill as it moves toward a final reckoning. Is Governor Deal facing a GOP backlash over his measure to save Georgia's schools? Speaker David Ralston slams the pundits who he says are trying to push him into a corner on the religious freedom bill. Plus, the Democratic leader of the Senate, Steve Henson, joins us live on set. And we'll have a live report from our team at the state capitol. Lawmakers starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Lawmakers. I'm Bill Nigut. Can you believe it? We're at day 33 of this year's session. Tonight, Senator Steve Henson is with us to talk about the status of some of this year's biggest bills. Plus, do not mess around with Speaker David Ralston. We've got proof why you don't want to do that. But first, let's check out what happened today under the Gold Dome. Pat St. Clair has tonight's Capitol report. Hi, Pat.
Hi, Bill. We began tonight with the $1 billion transportation bill, which faced a tough crowd in the Senate. It passed on a vote of 29 to 25, but it was clear that many senators did not like what they were voting on.
The question that we have here today is how do we pay for these projects and how do we keep people moving to and from work? How do we get families home so they can see their children's ball games tonight at 6 o'clock? How do we get business people in and out of Atlanta through the airport or through our interstate routes?
Senator Steve Gooch spent nearly 2 hours explaining the plan. It starts by cutting the House gasoline excise tax by 5 cents, down to 24 cents a gallon. But it would still allow local cities to collect sales tax on gas for their own use. It also proposed a $5 rental fee for all rental vehicles, whether local or from out of state. But it did not provide any guarantees for participation by minority contractors in the transportation work.
I'm of the opinion that if there's not some wording in this document, in the bill, in House Bill 170, we will not advance in the next 3 years or thereafter. What we are talking about is a fair shot and a fair chance for people to be included in the economic mainstream of this state. That's all we're asking.
Senators also rejected an amendment to hire a compliance officer at the GOT. Other senators who were on the fence about the transportation bill had their own issues.
Unfortunately, it's still a net increase in the motor fuel tax. It's asking those citizens in my area who did what they were called on to do to do even more. And I think that, and I certainly hope that we're going to advance a bill this session that provides local communities around this state the flexibility to go back to their citizens with the T-Splost.
As they voted, many senators said they hope a new compromise plan will be worked out after the transportation plan goes back to the House next week. Also today, the Senate approved its version of the annual budget on a vote of 52 to 1. But one surprise is it includes money for transit that disappeared from the transportation bill. Using charts and graphs, Senator Jack Hill explained the Senate revisions to the $21.8 billion budget bill they received from the House. The Senate committee rearranged the dollars to include more funding for raises for teachers, construction of new libraries, and funding support for clinics that treat people without health care insurance. New funding for transit was attached to the $1.1 billion bond package for new construction.
The total package, the total bond package for the House, Senate, and the governor, when you add everything together, is $1.1 billion. But it includes the $200 million in transportation bonds that was passed in the House budget, and we have included those same $200 million bonds in the Senate version as well. As you remember, $100 million was for roads and bridges, or for bridges, I understand, and $100 million for transit.
Senator Vincent Fort was the only senator to vote against the budget. He also questions the $100 million for transit, which he says is not enough. The House will begin reviewing the Senate budget plan on next Monday. As we said, the version of the transportation bill passed by the Senate today does not include any language to guarantee participation by minority contractors. And that's a provision that Representative Keisha Waite supported. We caught up with her in the House chambers this afternoon to get her reaction.
This is a great day for Georgia. We are making some huge strides in terms of transit, in terms of generating revenue to tackle some tough issues that came about before I was born. I will tell you that I'm tremendously disappointed that the amendment that was offered regarding women and minority contracting was not successful. I think Georgia has a unique and historic opportunity to send a very strong and powerful message that Georgia is open to business for everyone. But certainly we don't want to stand in the way of progress. And it is my hope that in the years and in the future to come that this is an issue that we can revisit.
Now, yesterday there was a news conference with Senator Ford and a coalition of business owners, and they were very vocal about the fact that Georgia contracts for roads and bridges Georgians only get about, blacks and minorities rather, only get about 4% or less of those contracts. What can be done or what should be done to change that figure? It's so low.
Well, what I'm hoping is that we've actually started the conversation surrounding this issue. As I indicated to you before, I want to start by praising Chairman Jay Roberts. I think he did a tremendous job. I think it was a tough, very, very difficult bill. So we certainly want to give him kudos for the work that he's done surrounding this bill. Unfortunately, this conversation probably started a little bit too late, but it is my hope again that we've started the conversation. I think that we simply want to send a very strong and powerful message that Georgia is open for business for everyone and that everyone has the opportunity to participate in our success and our growth. I would hope that, and it is my intent to reach out to our governor to consider an executive order. The DOT Commissioner McMurray has made some commitments in terms of a letter to conduct a disparity study. It is my hope that those things will be followed through. But yes, I'm tremendously hurt and disappointed. And I just want to send a powerful message out there to women and minorities to reach out to our governor, reach out to members, and let them know that this is something that you deeply care about as well. And the fact that everyone should be allowed to participate in Georgia's success and contribute. I would hope that politics would not be played with something that's serious. So I want to send that message first and foremost. I think that to leverage votes of that nature and hijack them, if you will, I don't think that does Georgia any service. I think it does a disservice to our citizens and the 10 million Georgians. But instead, I'm hoping that we can keep the conversation going. I think we have started the conversation. I think that there's a unique opportunity to send a historic and unique message that this is something that we will be open to. And it is my hope that now that it's coming back that we can continue the conversation, if you will. But again, we don't want to hinder progress. We don't want to do anything that's going to set us back another 20 years. We had a group of individuals who spent the entire summer working on this. And so, I don't want to take anything away from their efforts, but I simply want to reiterate and stress again that this issue is not going to go away. It is my hope that our governor will take a leadership role in this issue. It is my hope that individuals will be open to potentially hearing an amendment, perhaps on the House side, or over the summer we can work on the bill.
Although she is disappointed that there is no provision in the transportation bill to include minority participation, Waite says she is pleased that the budget bill approved by the Senate today does include $3 million in scholarship money to recruit and train minority students in engineering and $5 million to provide credit help for disadvantaged small businesses contracting with the DOT. Bill, of course, we'll be hearing about both bills tonight from your guest, Senator Steve Henson. That does it for us. For now at the Capitol, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Pat. We'll talk to you later in the show. Joining me tonight for a discussion on some of the biggest issues at the Capitol right now, Senator and Minority Leader Sen Steve Henson. He's a Democrat from Tucker. And we're glad to welcome back Christina Torres. She is a political writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. She covers the state Senate and broader politics when called upon to do so. Thank you both for being here. Let me start with what happened in the Senate today, Senator Henson, and go to you first on this, Christina. Sorry. The Senate finally had the transportation bill in front of it.
They did.
And they, first of all, we should say that they passed it, but they passed it by just the required number of votes and only got votes from Republicans, right?
Very true. It passed 29-25. 29 is the minimum it needed to pass. It was very interesting. Republicans voted against it. All the Democrats in that chamber today voted against it. It was close.
Okay, very quickly, there are a couple of changes. Senator Tommy Williams was on the other night and talked about his proposal initially. One of the things that was part of his initial package was a $25, basically highway user fee for all automobile operators. It was $50, I think, for truck drivers. And we said to him on the show, you're going to get a lot of pushback on this, aren't you? He said, yes, it may not live. Did it live, Senator?
It did not live. There was a bipartisan effort to remove that. You certainly, when we go to conference, anything will be able to be discussed and could be brought back up. But we didn't think that was probably the right way to move forward today in this bill.
Okay, and so, Christina, what did live was the $5 rental car fee,
Correct.
right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which it should be said, rental car companies are opposed to. They do not like that at all.
Fighting it hard. And
Certainly.
should we assume that when they go to conference committee, those rental car lobbyists are not going away?
Oh, not at all. In fact, I was hearing from them during the vote, and they're emailing me saying, well, why are they taking the other fee and not ours? So that's an ongoing issue. I think the fees are going to be an ongoing issue. Yeah. The gas tax itself, the fact that the Senate's in at 24 cents per gallon, the House proposed 29. I mean, that's obviously a key negotiating point.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the biggest issues, too, is the Senate version has $250 million taken from the general fund next session and future sessions to pay transportation debt. And that money is going to come out of education and other areas that we really need financial assistance. So
okay.
That's a problem when we are going to, take all the growth money or most of it and dedicated transportation when we have a $450 million austerity cut to education right now.
When you take the driver's user fee out, the $25 fee out, you end up with a bill that is well short of $1 billion. It's $800 million plus dollars. There seems to be pretty unanimous agreement among everybody. You need at least $1 billion.
Yeah, and that's not all. To get to the $800 million, they're taking money from the 1 cent sales tax and putting it in the gas tax, so that's taking $160 million out of the general fund, and they're taking a commitment of $250 million of general fund money. So really, it's not raising as much revenue as $800 million or anywhere close to that.
Why did the Democratic caucus lock down on this and vote against it unanimously?
Well, one of the fundamental things was that $250 million they said was going to go out of growth. The governor this session started a state of state saying he was using the growth money to build back the austerity cuts into education. I mean, we've got $280 million going to education this year. That's growth money. And if you didn't have that, if it was all dedicated DOT, we would not get our children back to where they need to be in public education. In this budget alone, we saw another phase where we passed on over $100 million to local school systems that they now have to pick up health care for the kids, for the workers,
cafeteria workers, the bus drivers,
right.
and things like that. So that's a burden on the local school systems, and we keep doing that. And now we're going to say transportation is our top priority in the state, and schools are going to have to wait. And that was a message we didn't like very much.
So, Christina, this bill did pass, but it had the entire Democratic caucus voting no, right, and some Republicans like Senator McCoon, who we heard in Pat's report, voting against the measure because they see it, even at 24 cents rather than 29 on the excise tax, a tax increase.
Among the things they tried to do and failed to do was make it, for example, the gas tax itself, the excise tax, at 20 cents per gallon, which is revenue neutral. And you go up beyond that, and they're thinking, and they have said, even on the floor, Senator John Albers made this point, that he viewed it as a tax increase, that you're not going revenue neutral, you're going to do it above that, you're going to bring in more tax money, you're then doing these fees, like the rental car fee, which is on in-state residents who may have an accident and need a car. I mean, there's no discernment there. That's an issue for them, and I think the Senate's considered more conservative anyway, and so you've now set the conservative ground with God forbid I use the word liberal, the House's version, which is a little different, and you got to find that common ground by April 2nd.
And certainly by all those adjustments, taking out $25 fee, dropping it as the Senate did 24, and it would have been worse at 20. The revenue is not really there to come anywhere close to what our Republican governor said we needed to have.
Okay, so when this thing goes to conference committee, and number one, do you expect Democrats will be at the table?
I'm hoping the Democrats will be on the table. Of course, You have to vote for the bill to be on the conference committee, so there won't be any Democrats on the Senate.
Obviously, but there's talk that Calvin Smyre very well could be in the House side, be a member of the conference committee.
Certainly, and as you know, many House Democrats did vote for the bill. They're going to certainly be in the discussion. And when the bill's changed, if there's more revenue, if they're trying to meet the governor's expectations, I expect they will need Democratic votes to pass the bill.
Well, and that was going to be my question. Do you anticipate that a bill that comes out of conference committee that takes a number back up to the $1 billion that everyone seems to think is necessary, is there a chance, could Democrats get on board with the bill if it satisfies your requirements?
Well, first of all, I don't think a bill will pass the Senate unless it has bipartisan support. If they work with the House to build all the factions that they had working on the bill, that's going to be needed. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not the leadership in the Senate and the House are willing to address some of the concerns we've had.
Okay, let's move on to another issue that we're going to get really cranked up on next week, because we've only got 7 days left in this session, Christina, and that's the governor's bill for saving failing schools. It passed through the Senate, and it's over on the House side now. But what's your anticipation of? There have already been a couple of Republicans in the House who have said they really don't like this bill at all.
You know, the bill passed. Well, there's actually two parts to this legislation. One is the actual bill, the enabling legislation, and then there is a constitutional amendment that will be put to voters if it passes about the actual creation of this essentially statewide school district that he wants to do, and what he calls an opportunity school district, and I know some will call it the school takeover plan. But you know, it passed the Senate. The amendment, the constitutional amendment, needed 38 votes to pass. It hit that mark exactly.
Right on the nose.
We talked about how close things are. There are Republicans in the Senate who voted for it who are uncomfortable, but they went along with the governor, and I think in the House, a little more diversity of opinion.
Well, let's look at something here, because, you know, this may be just a minor flap on the House side, but there are a few Republicans in the House who are starting to bristle at what they think is too much pressure they're getting from the governor's office. One of those is Representative Stover, who had this to say today.
The executive drives every decision under the Gold Dome. We worry what will happen if we vote against the governor's bill or the lieutenant governor's bill. The answer is quite simply, punish those who disagree with these bills.
So, you know, the governor can't be happy when he sees some Republican members suddenly speaking out like this.
Yeah, but it shows how important this bill is and how it totally can change education in Georgia. The constitutional amendment's a key, and it's very broadly written. With just legislation, just 29 votes, you could come back and have a statewide school district that takes over 90% of the schools in Georgia if you change the failing mechanism that's in there. And you're creating a new bureaucracy. You're not adding any new resources to help kids. Just saying that by the change of leadership, you're going to do it. And, you know, right now we have school systems that maybe 80% of the schools are very successful, and they have the very few failing schools. Those problems aren't necessarily that they have bad leadership. The other schools in the same system are doing well because of good leadership. They're doing badly often because of challenges within the community. And this bill does nothing to address, and the constitutional amendment does nothing to address those challenges to help, you know, tutor those kids to help make the school successful.
Okay, so there will be differences between the House and Senate version of this, and it will go to conference committee.
I think that's very likely. We expect it to come up now Monday in House committee. They could vote. It's not a hearing only, so we'll have to see if they make any changes to try and appease those concerns. But yeah, I think we're headed to sine die and the conference committee, and we'll see if he gets it done.
And do Democrats sit this one out too?
On
education?
On education in the Senate, we were very opposed to the bill.
Right.
We fought it. We offered an alternative, a community school plan.
You had your community school plan.
That in Kentucky and other states have shown a wide amount of success and could have been done without a lot of money, but it would have taken some resources, and that's where we parted ways. They want to keep offering up plans to fix the schools without putting any resources in it.
Okay.
And that's not easy.
Okay, look, we're going to take a break now because we have a really interesting kind of personal battle shaping up between the speaker and one of the major blogger and talk show hosts in this town. We want to talk about that in just a minute. So that's still ahead. You know, we think about the late, great folk singer Jim Croce, who warned, don't mess around with Jim. Well, at the Gold Dome, don't mess around with David Ralston. You'll hear what we talk about, what we're talking about when we come back with the Lawmakers.
Her voice was loved by millions. Her spirit touched our hearts. Now hear Judy Garland's remarkable life story in her own words.
I am going to talk, and everybody just better sit on the bench and watch the ball game.
American Masters celebrates the life of Judy Garland.
Monday at 10 on GPB. It is our oldest enemy, and perhaps our most feared. But what do we really know about cancer?
Make no mistake, this is one of the most significant human challenges in our history.
Now more than ever, there is reason for hope.
When you look at what's going on with cancer right now, it's stunning.
Cancer, the emperor of all maladies.
We had less than 24 hours to evacuate.
There was a sea of people wanting to get out.
It was a terrible, moral dilemma. Who goes and who gets left behind?
They looked up at the helicopters and I could see their eyes.
On this date, March 20th in 1970, Georgia Governor Lester Maddox signed a bill into law that made it a felony to manufacture, process, distribute, or possess LSD. Penalty for a first offense, a fine of up to $2,000, and a jail term of 2 to 5 years. Groovy, man. Welcome back to the Lawmakers. Joining me in the studio tonight, Senate Democratic leader Steve Henson and Christina Torres of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. All right, we have very little time to talk about this, you two, but real quick, Speaker Ralston, as he said on this show in a long interview a couple weeks ago, is not certain that we need this religious freedom bill. He says the Constitution may already give us that protection. He's been weighing it in his mind. Here comes Eric Erickson, whose Red State blog is a very popular conservative blog around the country, and who's over there at AM 750. Mm-hmm. And he is saying that Ralston is a coward for not taking this head on. And today went even further. But before we get to what he did today, let's listen to what David Ralston said about this flap to the Atlanta Press Club. We'll take just a little of it.
Closing the door to anyone is closing the door to all. In this and other passionate debates, however, there always seems to be a few for whom honest, reasonable, and civil discussion is an alien concept that they are simply not acquainted with. These pundits for hire and self-professed thought leaders are not looking to protect anything or anyone. They seek profit, relevance, and attention by preying on people's worst fears through loud volume, lies, and distortions.
Ralston, very tough about, we assume Eric Erickson, although you didn't use his name.
Did not use his name, and I should note that WSB Radio is a Cox company.
Sure.
So, as is the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. You know, there's someone in control up there. It definitely is David Ralston. You saw that with the transportation vote, the fact that they got that House bill out and rewarded those who voted for it, including Democrats. I mean, there's no question who's in charge. And I think, you know, we'll have to see that there is a rumor. There may be a substitute coming, but you know, it's an emotional issue. And to his point, I mean, you have two intractable sides, and it's really hard to get anything out of that.
And we see a solution to a problem that doesn't exist, or at least, you know, really hasn't come up. You know, we haven't seen the need for this bill. It wasn't presented on the Senate floor how this would help that many cases.
Christina mentioned that there's maybe an amendment on the way in the House, and what we're hearing is maybe there's going to be an amendment that says that it would protect gays and lesbians against discrimination. It would have language that would specify that. Does that make the bill any more palatable to you as a Democrat?
It makes it more palatable because we know some people pushing it are of that mindset, that's what it's about. But it's still, I think, a bill that can lead to a lot of litigation unnecessarily. I think we have protections in the state and U.S. Constitution already. And
all right, we said, oh, by the way, today Eric Erickson took it up a notch. He now says that conservatives in the legislature should pressure Governor Deal, who's not getting behind the bill strong enough, and they should refuse to vote for transportation and education unless he backs RFRA. So this fight is getting very personal and nasty. We'll watch it unfold. All right, that's it. Thank you, Steve Henson.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christina Torres. We're going to go back down to the Capitol right now with Pat St. Clair. She has a report for us, I think, with Representative Calvin Smyre, who is one of the most interesting and longest-lasting members of the House. Pat?
Bill, Representative Calvin Smyre has spent more than half of his life as a lawmaker representing voters in Columbus. He is the longest-serving member on the powerful House Appropriations Committee, and he's worked hard behind the scenes on the transportation bill. As his long career at the state capitol winds down, we caught up with him to get his observation on how things have changed over the years.
I was elected in 1974, and we were on the cups of, we had an office like I'm sitting in an office. We had telephone booths in the anterooms, and that was your office, was a telephone booth. I've been very, very fortunate. I've served in a lot of positions. The late Speaker Thomas B. Murphy and I became close friends and associates, and he was very instrumental in getting me involved in the House very, very early. I went on Ways and Means after 4 years, and I went on Appropriation after being elected 8 years, and I've been on the Appropriation Committee since that time. I'm probably the longest serving member, but I am the longest serving member on Appropriation. And I've seen the budget go from around $2 billion to now to $20 billion plus. So that I've seen the state grow. I've seen it change from a manufacturing to service to high tech, so from that perspective, I've seen Georgia to become a state of destination, and I've seen us acquire the busiest airport in the world. Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson.
And you are, in fact, the Dean of the House, so the longest serving member in the House?
Long time.
Yeah.
41 years is a long time, and I've learned a great deal. It's been a joy. I always thank the people from back home for allowing me to serve them for this long period of time. And it's been, you gotta love public service. You gotta love what you do, to get up every morning excited about what you're getting up for, what you're getting ready to do. And public service has been my ministry.
How much longer do you think you want to keep doing this? And also, what do you think your legacy will be?
Well, I've been encouraged by both sides of the aisle. I mean, it goes beyond Republican or Democrat, because you're talking about doing what's in the best interest of the state, doing something that's workforce related, that's job related, that's quality of life related, to me makes a difference. So I just don't know yet. I do know that having served 41 years, you don't have many years left. But so I play that. I probably will seek another term, and that may be it. But at this juncture, I have not made a decision. And I always think about the fact that on your tombstones there are two dates: the day that you were born and the day that you pass away. But it doesn't matter what day you were born or what day you pass, it's what you do with the dash while you were here. What contribution did you make to make it a better life for the person that's following you? And if I could be remembered, or if I had a legacy, I would just want to be that I used my dash well.
Whenever Representative Smyre decides to call it quits, he will be missed by many here at the state capitol. Bill?
Thanks so much, Pat. Well, the day wouldn't be complete without a mention of the Georgia State Panthers men's basketball team. Their surprising win over Baylor yesterday. They were recognized by both chambers in the Capitol today. In the House, GSU alumni took to the floor to show their Panther pride, and they were ecstatic, as you can imagine. Okay, They busted your bracket, but it was an exciting game, and we wish them well in the second round tomorrow. That's it for us on Lawmakers tonight. We'll be back with you on Monday night for day 34 of the session. In the meantime, we hope you have a terrific weekend. I'm Bill Nigut. Good night.
This is a GPB original production.